is what does it take to create a compelling value proposition? What does it take to improve messaging? So if you're serious about marketing and selling more effectively to CTOs and CIOs and you want to improve your messaging, the most important thing that I can tell you is to get really good at empathy. Understand what's going on in their lives that you can actually help them with. It's kind of, if you think about a spectrum from selfish jerk to incredibly helpful consultant, most people are somewhere in the middle, or at least nobody gets up in the morning in a sales role and says, I want to be perceived by my prospects and clients as a selfish jerk. So let's assume that you're somewhere in the middle on that continuum. What we want to try to do is get you to helpful subject matter expert, teacher, trusted advisor, consultant, and thought leader as rapidly as possible. And one of the best ways to do that is to spend more time learning about their goals, learning about their needs, learning about their challenges, and interacting with them. If you go to live events and you have the opportunity to chat with the right people in the right context, it can be great. At the absolute minimum, you should be reading, listening, and watching. What you're going through right now can help you tremendously with understanding what's going on inside the minds of CTOs and CIOs that you're trying to build relationships with. But as I mentioned during the core webinar, as you're actually researching and building and documenting your buyer persona documents, they can't be in thin air. They need to literally be sitting in a Google Doc or something like that. And if they're done well, they could be a page, usually for most companies that are selling a high ticket item with a considered purchase decision. They're usually going to be multi-pages. One that is done well, that gives you the consensus on a representative sample of people in that cohort of people in that persona group of what they need to figure out to help them get to the next level in their career, their goals, what they need to do to help them earn a promotion, their goals, what they're struggling with the most, their challenges. And all of that will help you come up with a content strategy, an editorial calendar, an events plan to be able to deliver as much value as possible. If you want to next level above and beyond that, and you probably, if you've heard me talk before, I talk about the idea of double dipping and triple dipping. What that means is you come up with something you invest in once that gives you yields 2, 3, 4 times. So one of the interesting triple, double dipping kind of opportunities that you have as you're trying to improve your messaging, as you're trying to resonate more with your buyer personas, is, at the risk of getting a little meta like this, is you have your buyer personas, and you could potentially either do research reports where you send out surveys to those folks and compile it together into PDFs and excerpts and blogs and video versions and webinar versions. You could also start a podcast for your most important kind of buyer persona, where each week you interview someone different. They could be a combination of prospects and clients, and you're getting to know them better. If you work in any kind of product related role, chances are I should hope you're already having a lot of conversations like this to figure out your user stories, to figure out what goes into your sprints and your epics, and to help prioritize your resources. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of value from conducting these kinds of interviews, because usually when you do this right, you, within 5, 10, 20 people that you're talking to, you should start to notice patterns and insights. And that makes it so the more you get deeper into this, the more valuable your insights become to all of the prospects and clients that you engage with. And people will almost feel like they're talking to a Gartner or Forrester or an IDC analyst after a while, because you're starting to see these macro trends that allow you not only to answer the questions that your prospects and clients have, but to see 2, 3, 4, 5, 28 steps ahead of where they are right now, because you've seen the pattern recognition on what this kind of role, what this kind of CTO or CIO is most concerned about in a company in their location of that size and that kind of business model and that kind of industry. Because you start to see patterns. And then that's, again, where it doesn't feel like they're attending a discovery call with you. It doesn't feel like you're exploring so you can put together a proposal and pitch them or something. It really does truly feel like they're engaging with a enterprise consultant who's just sharing outrageously valuable insights with them on what you've observed from other companies similar to theirs. So that for sure will help you improve your value proposition, your messaging, your explaining what you do. Another big thing that I'd recommend is a lot of companies really never get good at figuring out what business they're truly in. And there's a bunch of different frameworks for this, but the one that I'm the biggest fan of is called the job to be done. This was a framework that was developed in the 2010s and got a lot more popular at Harvard Business School by a gentleman, the late Clayton Christensen. And what the job to be done means is that you really are figuring out what is the job that your clients are hiring your company to do? And when they do that, what are they essentially firing the competitive options, the other alternatives that are in front of them? And when you have a better idea of what the job is that you're truly doing for your clients, when they're doing something and they're frustrated about something, they hire your company for this reason to do this because it makes them be able to do this. When you're able to better, this is again something that product managers and sales enablement professionals will spend a lot of time on, but it's something that can be super useful to you as well, because we know there's like surface level symptoms, and then we know there's deeper diagnoses, and then really getting deeper and deeper and deeper to really understand and unravel what is going on at the company. So at the deepest level, what's super important is spending more time with your clients, increasing the frequency that you do that. It gives you more data, gives you more touch points, and helps you learn and iterate faster. And that alone can make an enormous difference in coming up with content and event strategy and messaging that resonates a lot better.